Hi, it's your host, Dr. Dequies. Welcome to We Speak Podcast, where we cover everything women's empowerment. Check it out. OC Mizrahi is the founder and visionary behind OC Oils, a sacred wellness brand rooted in slow beauty, Ayurvedic ritual, and the art of coming home to oneself. Born on a farm in Israel, OC's connection to the natural world began early, shaping her journey as a medical intuitive, Ayurvedic artisan, and guide in the healing arts. With over 30 years of experience in yoga, Ayurveda, Reiki, Kundalini, and Theta healing, OC blends ancient wisdom with feminine embodiment. She believes in slow beauty and slow aging practices that honor the body's rhythms and nourish vitality over time. Through her storytelling, mentorship, and botanical creations, OC helps women around the world reconnect to their spark and live with more pleasure, purpose, and presence. Hello, ladies, and welcome back to We Sweet Podcast. I'm so excited for the conversation that we have planned for you today. And I have the beautiful OC here, and I can't wait for OC to share with you about her journey and just her business and all that she does. So today we're talking about transforming women's health, bringing holistic balance to your daily life. Welcome, OC.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. I was
Yes.
actually really excited, to be here and to open the conversation. Last time we met, there was so much coming up. Uh,
Yeah,
it was kind of nice to actually nail it down. S-
yeah. I know when we spoke before, it felt like, okay, we should have just hit, record right now.
I know.
We had such a great conversation, and I'm excited for us to just expand that today. So, OC, let's start with just who you are and your brand, how you created your brand, and just how you got into, everything that you're doing now.
hmm Yeah, I created the brand, I would say, um, 2012, where I started selling my product on Shopify and e-commerce. And prior to that, it was basically just making the oils and selling it to my students
Yeah,
and, experimenting with my student to see what would be like the best formulation. So it was
yeah.
like I would say it was a 2-year process for me before I just went more into the public where I was able to start shipping the product in a bigger quantity. But really everything started in my kitchen. You can even see picture of me like bottling the oils and putting the labels and making sure that the smell and it's clean and natural and fits what women need.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really started it because I got panchakarma, which mean extracting the toxin out of your body.
Mhm.
It's a detox that it's actually pretty gentle, and you eat a lot of fat, healthy fat, like you ingest ghee, and you have oils that are applied on your body, your hair. You have
Mhm.
basti, which is like a certain area around the marmacoin where you put warm oil and with herbs that you let it stay there for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and it really could open your heart, or it's good for digestive. It's whatever you target. And I done panchakarma a few times, and in one of the experience after a
Mhm.
week of it's a week to 2 weeks before you prepare for the detox.
Mhm.
You kind of refrain from meats and sugars and dairies and stimulant like coffee or Coca-Cola, which I never drink. But certain
Mhm.
things that you would the most people will kind of ingest on a regular basis, and it's basically you start to eat a mono diet, kitchery, cooked vegetables, soup, everything cooked, so it's you start to really slow down the digestion. Uh,
Mhm.
at that time, I would say that I had a lot of, since I'm a kid, I always had digestive issues. I think a lot of it was because I wasn't eating. I was super skinny. I would just kind of forget to eat till my
Mhm.
mom took me, home back to eat. And I think in 15, I didn't have ingest enough oils.
Mhm.
Um, and then, hormones at that age, getting your period and your breast is growing and everything is shifting and your mood is changing. And, I don't know how much education there was even back then,
Yeah.
right? In the
Yeah.
80s. And
Yeah.
I think when I got panchakarma, it was a wake up call for me. It was really understanding that Ayurveda is an incredible medicine.
Mhm.
It's just now more and more it's coming and blowing up in the US. It's already very popular in Europe as far as the treatment of panchakarma. And in the US, I would say that the treatment of Abhyanga and Shirodhara are starting to become really popular. In
Mhm.
fact, like last week, I trained 16 women in Kohler Spa in Chicago. Last year, I trained 26 women to do Abhyanga and Shirodhara to do those treatments. And it's a part of Panchakarma. My whole mission was this is amazing, but how would everybody needs to know about it, just the way I felt about yoga, which is the
Yeah.
sister of Ayurveda. And I said to myself, Western women were not going to use those practices unless it's attractive, it smells good, and it's feminine and sensual and have something in it to be cultivating why a woman would bring it into her rituals. So I
Yeah.
created a product that based on 5,000 years old medicine, based on the treatment that you would get if you get a panchakarma.
Mhm.
And but my whole mission was bringing it home, and it was a really smart way to think before even COVID, because during COVID, a lot of my students and clients were doing those treatments at home to stay healthy,
Yeah.
and they couldn't go to India. You couldn't go to a practitioner or or a PK technician like I am to go and get treatments. And so you basically learn to warm the oils, to apply them on your body. It's a lot
Mhm.
of the base is sesame, but there are 20 to 30 herbs that have been brewed for 3 days and extract like a tea, and you mix them with a base oil cold press, and you warm it and you apply it to your skin, which is your biggest organ.
Mhm.
And when I got panchakarma, I actually got a little bit sick. Um, and one of the reasons that I believe is that as Western, when our liver is not really prepared enough to and clean enough to do those practices, and that's why it's so important to start it at home and really learn to um bring panchakarma home, which is like drinking hot water,
Mhm.
having teas with like fennel, so it's good for your digestive. Sometimes you need to build a fire in your digestive, so I would do a ginger tea if I'm like don't really want to desire to eat and your appetite is reduced. Put in herbs and um you know like turmeric in
Yeah.
my and cooking.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, this has basically become a lifestyle
Mhm. Mhm.
and rituals that are, really ultimately is what me and you spoke about last time, which is sneha. Sneha is a definition, is a Sanskrit word for oils, but it's also love.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So oiling yourself, your biggest organ, is actually super healing. I think
Mhm.
promote beauty from the inside out. You're really beautiful as your inside is beautiful.
Mhm.
And I would say that the ritual of oiling yourself, ointing yourself, it's such a beautiful, sensual, and especially those oils that are created have incredible smell, like jasmine, for my breast oil and lymphatic drainage, or my flow oil, which is for digestive and women organs. So it's good also for
Mhm.
hormonal
Mhm.
balance. And I think look, I have a lot of respect for Western medicine. I think it's appropriate when you need to go to a hospital and there's an emergency or it's something more complicated. But I think on a daily basis, what I learned when I had so much digestive issues is just I wasn't informed.
Yeah.
I really didn't know about the vata energy that, trap in your system, the air that is trapped
Mhm.
that causing you bloatiness or, going through, hormonal shift, how it affect you, how it affect your mood.
Yeah.
We say in Ayurveda that the most important thing is really getting a healthy, having a really good, strong digestion.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, so I do a lot of belly massages and I do castor oil packs with my belly oil and I put flannel and I put heating pad. So I know I'm sharing a lot of information and, your viewer might be educated about Ayurveda or not, but it's really good to bring it out and
Mm.
start talking about it because I didn't know what it was. It was overwhelming, starting to learn Ayurveda. I was like, I had an aha moment when I was 15, and from that point on, I just kept looking for what made me that feeling of like, oh my God, I know this. This is me. I need to study more. I need to learn more.
Mhm.
And I started to open up now with AI and internet. You have a lot more way to get all those resources and learn about it.
Right.
My mission right now is to create a subscription where people gonna come on an Ayurveda journey with me, and I'm gonna educate them. They're gonna get videos. They're gonna get, newsletter, all related to how to cultivate and bring Ayurveda into your life. How to bring those practices that if you would go and get panchakarma into your home before you go and get a panchakarma and go to India or we really should start gentle at home because our liver cannot handle the amount of herbs and those treatment are beautiful and incredible experience, but it's also intense in a sense of intense for the liver. To start cleaning the livers like that, it sometimes bring the disease up, the
Yeah.
disposition up.
Mhm.
So that's why I really think that it's all about self-love. It's all about learning that, small bites.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, OC, I knew this was gonna happen. Um, I knew this was gonna happen because you've said so many amazing things that I don't even know where to jump in. So we'll just go one at a time here before I get on to other things. Number one, I completely agree and believe in a lot of natural care for our bodies is self-care. And I also believe in, Western medicine. I believe that when you need to go to the doctor, go to the doctor. When you need to go to the hospital, go to the hospital. Especially when you have, a major a medical emergency. But I do think sometimes too that issues that our bodies are having and your bodies are, nobody's body is the same, um, and what you need, someone else may need something different. And then also just your hereditary, your culture, where you come from, the foods that you eat is very unique to your culture. And so I think that learning how to care and have self-love for the body starts with honoring your unique individual needs. And you were talking about the digestive, and you learned that that was something,
Mhm,
that you were experiencing, and just how your mom would encourage you to eat and things like that. And just learning what's unique to you. And I had a lot of things going on digestive as well.
But I later learned, much, much later in life, that a lot of that was dealing with some hormonal things.
Mm,
And I had to take care of, putting it just out there very bluntly, I had to take care of the uterus. There were things happening in that space
mhm.
that, as soon as I started targeting the right thing and my hormones and, a lot of natural things, as well as I subscribe to medical attention when you need it, but that really balanced my body back out. And so what I thought was one issue in one space really required me to focus on something totally different. And I didn't even realize that. And so as you're talking and you're talking about how, you start a lot of these like herbal, remedies and things of that nature what'll bring, certain diseases up. Like I've experienced those things personally. So I can attest, to our listeners that it's just so important to, take small steps and to become educated, but to first focus on where you are right now in your body and what your body needs.
Mhm.
People who struggle with anxiety and things like that. I mean, it's the list is so long that I could go through. The digestive issues, inflammation. I mean, it's just so much. And so I think it's important that we understand what it means to truly love the body and ourselves, and not get caught up in just the quick fix and going to take all of these, medications that honestly sometimes just create more toxicity, instead of focusing on a lot of natural things that you can do. That are very healthy for you. And it's not like some people hear even the word ritual and people go woo woo, and it's like, no, like we're talking habits as well. Like you hear just ritual and you go to, someone telling you to do something that feels like completely against what your belief systems are, and nobody's telling you to change your belief systems. I myself a very spiritual woman, but I think in modern day society people hear that word and they think, okay, no, that sounds like not something cuckoo, I'm not doing that. And it's like it's really about just educating yourself,
Mhm.
because you're practicing certain habits on a
Mhm.
daily basis anyway. There's certain spiritual things that you do every day anyway, your prayer life, whatever that may be. So I think it's just important that people not become shut off and closed-minded when they hear something, because it freaks them out because they just don't understand it. And so I
Mhm.
like that you're talking about education, the classes, the retreats, so people can slow down instead of freaking out and take one step at a time and just learn. And so like I said, my brain was going too fast as I was hearing
Yeah.
you kind of walk
Yeah.
through a lot of these things. And I think that for me in particular, I can't speak for other women, what led myself to more of a natural lifestyle is dealing with some health issues. And I think
Mhm.
sometimes people naturally go to that because of just their heritage or their spirituality or things like that. And they grew up like that. And then there's other people like me where it took for something to happen health wise for me to make that transition. And
Yes.
so I think going back to the educational piece, so many women are people individual afraid of switching to certain lifestyle choices because A, the education isn't there, they don't understand it, and it feels like too far out there. And then B, just the overwhelm. And so this is my next question for you. Because women get so overwhelmed and they are already burnt out with daily life, our moms, our wives, or just those who are working like they're 9 to 5. They don't have all this time in the day to go to like this trainer or to this coach or things like that. And they just feel like, oh, there's just one more thing. There's just one more thing on my plate to do. How can women transform into a more balanced daily life and their habits?
Mhm. This is, it's a great question, and I had so many things and so many avenues to respond to everything you shared. I would say that something that came to me is, when I go to just to respond to some of the stuff you're saying, and then I will talk about the ritual and how to start.
Yeah.
You know, when I go to a doctor, I go usually with an answer. meaning that I a lot of time I diagnose myself, and then I tell the doctor what I think it is to basically
Mhm.
save, and the one that, you know, questioned me and like, "What are you talking about?" It's, um, you have the right as a patient to ask for certain tests and things that you want, and you need to be your own advocate. You have to go to a doctor educated and at least figure it out something is wrong. I also had issues with my uterus and I didn't know what it was. I just knew it's maybe fibroids. I'm going through hormonal shifts. I started having like a feeling of UTIs, but it wasn't UTIs. I didn't know what it was. I ran from one doctor to another. And then I was like diagnosing myself. I think it's an endometriosis. I'm older to have an usually it's an earlier age, but there is a form of that
Yeah.
is, a form of that, of a coziness, of a stickiness of the uterus that happen that can cause you issues. And no one knew what it was. I diagnosed myself and basically asked for a sonogram, and I was correct. And then
Yeah.
I met my doctor, and me and her, she's a young, smart, 35 years old, and she was working with me. And I was like, yes, there are doctors out there who are young and eager and educated who would wants to educate you and want to work with educated people about the subject. So we figure out together what path to take.
Yeah.
And I was hesitate. I got a second opinion because I always think it's really good. And I went back to the first doctor and I was like, use my intuition too. I was like, something feels right. The date she gave me to do the surgery felt right. And I handled it and took care of it. And it took 4 months. I'm not that patient, but it took 4 months to body to get back to normal. And I'm so happy that I done what I needed to do and take care of it. I feel so much better. Sometimes you do need surgery. It's okay.
Yeah.
Um, but I knew that I did everything that I could, and I also knew I educated myself and I came out to the doctor asking for certain tests because that's why we go to doctors. That's why we go to hospital is just to make sure once you know you're okay,
Yeah.
right? Like I worked with a girl yesterday who was 20 years old with constant digestive issues. And it's not just I gave a protocol of to take aloe vera or to have an alkaline diet and to make sure she have cooked food and to drink hot water, right? So that was the physical things that I gave her. I also went to the spirit, right? She's in a country, she's not in the US, she's in a country. I mean, it's not like the US is perfect right now, but
Mhm.
she was emotionally going through some stuff.
Yeah.
Her environment is intense. You
Mhm.
know, um, she's a soldier.
Mhm.
Right? She's
Mhm.
20 years old, a soldier. She's around a lot of stress. You need your spirit to elevate. So I give her certain breath work and kriya that she needs to do for 40 days
Mhm. Mhm.
to work on the digestive. And I ask her to go and get colonoscopy because it's really good to see, you
Yeah.
need to make sure what is not also. And
Mhm.
everything is okay, then it could be something like IBS, it could be different things, but you can solve those issues on your own. And that's why I go to the rituals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rituals are small tiny steps to get yourself into your optimal blueprint,
Mhm.
your the way where your body is sattvic, we call it in Ayurveda, which is really a place of peace and balance and harmony. And it's the body, it's the mind, it's the spirit, it's your emotional life.
Mhm.
All of that affect the disease. Um, I was speaking to a Kabbalistic about a week ago. I study Kabbalah. Since I'm young, I'm really interested in the mystical of Judaism, and it's a really deep. They weren't allowed to teach that form of spirituality till you're 40 years old
Mm.
because consciously you weren't, ready for that information about how this world created and why we're here and what is our mission. It could be scary for people. And we were
Mm.
talking about this woman who had a near death experience. Her heartbeat stopped for a few
Mhm.
seconds. And when she came back, she had stage 4 cancer. And they probably predicted, you know, in 2 years she'll die. And
Mhm.
when she came back from the out of body experience that she had, 70% of the cancer went away.
Mhm.
And this is research. There are books that talk about it, and there is research and experiment that actually, it's investigated. It's not just a
Mhm.
story. When your soul leaves, you don't have anymore the body. So a lot of time our soul is not elevated enough. It's so much in their third dimension realm. I need to make money. I need to eat. I need to be seen. I have, unworthy issues. I have things from my childhood that are not being processed and dealt with.
Mhm.
All of it is relevant. That's why I'm going now into something layered deeper, because me and you talked a lot about God too in our
Mhm.
pre and I'm very comfortable to say God, because for me, God is not the church. For me, God is this divinity, is the source, is the energy. It's something way bigger than us that we never really might understand in this lifetime.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
know there is a light out there that we have this desire to connect to this light, and that light also have the healing capacity. So the point is that to elevate our spirit with breath work, to elevate our spirit with yoga, to elevate
Mhm.
our spirit with really good information podcast that would elevate us, right?
Mhm.
It's the spirit, but then it's the body, right? The body is important, that the body is alkaline. In Ayurveda, we make sure the bodies, if you have pitta constitution and you're more prone to heat and anger and rage, you gotta come, the heat in the body, a lot to do with the liver too, right? Or you have vata constitution, you have a lot of air, you dry out faster. So you have to keep your body lubricate more.
Yeah.
That's why know thyself
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
really important. So when women said to me they're overwhelmed, you know, they might have to go through what me and you went through. Disease to learn how to find heal. It's the best thing that ever happened to me, right?
Mm.
Having
Yeah.
this disease, because it got me deeper into the spiritual path. It got me deeper into natural medicine. That's why I won't put garbage on my face.
Yeah.
I won't put those labels, branded labels that cost $250 or $300 for this, oils or creams on my face. Because when I read the ingredients, a lot of it is perfume. I don't use perfume. I use essential oils.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't want to put toxic garbage on my face. I want to stay away from plastic. This is that so many of us actually have plastic in our body because we're using certain food, the way it's stored, the way it's packed, even
Yeah.
detergent. It's I'm not
Mhm.
fanatic and I'm not like rigid,
Yeah.
but bring in more health into my life. So I have make choices to what I put on my biggest organ, which is my skin. And I think the second biggest organ is actually the liver,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
how I, filters all the toxin, is how do I detoxify my body, and how do I keep my body alkaline, and
Mhm.
how is I give self-love to my body through those oils, and it's contact, it's connection. That's
Mhm.
my whole thing, is actually slow beauty is slow aging. And
Mhm.
your external beauties come from the inside. If your gut is healthy, it's going to show in your skin.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's true. So many great things, OC, so many great things. I'll start with try to, if I can, go in order here. I'll start with your experience with just your health journey. Your experience was my experience to the T. Um, Knowing that something was off, I am a researcher, so I research. And I was kind of studying what was going on,
And I felt like, okay, everybody's telling me everything's okay. Everybody's telling me everything's fine. My iron was significantly low. I had had more than one iron infusion, and I was like, yes, this is not like something's off. And the whole thing, the fibroids, endometriosis, all the things. And it got to the point where I did need surgery. And I am an advocate for that. If you are a person that have a significant enough prognosis where that is probably the best case for you. Some people that have a mild case may be able to treat naturally and whatever. But for me, in the situation I was in, and I'll speak for myself, that was the best route. However, in knowing that that's what my experience was, and I had to ask for the ultrasounds just like you did. And when we had the ultrasounds, they were like, "Oh, you were right," and I'm like, "Yeah, you know your body," and that goes back to being a self advocate. That goes back to
Totally.
having enough um awareness with yourself and your body and what feels normal and what does not feel normal. Noticing changes and things like that, just being aware enough to advocate for yourself. So I had that exact same experience. So, when you were sharing it, I'm like, yes, yes, because that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
But it was
So many
also,
women right now. So many women are
yeah,
struggling.
yeah.
Yeah, it's probably also environmental, must be.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was also the, environmental and the foods, and so it was also the moment that I got, that much more. I was already trying to do some lifestyle changes before, but we were talking about the overwhelm and changing the habits, but it was that moment that kicked me into, like, high gear that, like, "Okay, I'm not playing around with it. I don't want this to be my situation again." So
Good.
I want to, make sure that I'm living in such a way that I can reduce this being my story again. And
Yes.
got very, very serious about how I eat, very serious about you were talking about the detergent, like the detergent, I don't use the same detergent anymore. My like face care routine, it's all a plant-based situation. Like I took it seriously. And I'm not saying this is going to be what everybody chooses to do in this way. I'm just saying that I chose to live a more holistic lifestyle for myself.
Yeah.
And it changed a lot. It changed my, I didn't have high blood pressure, but I was like, my blood pressure was getting up there for my age. That was an issue. And as soon as I changed how was eating, you talked about 4 months for you. Within 6 months, everything went like down. Like the numbers just went down. I went to the doctor. My blood pressure was super like great. My cholesterol, amazing. Everything just shifted. I probably lost a good 30 pounds. Like it was just different. And, the way I, of course, eat too, you talked about the plastics and things like that. And just like drinking out of plastic, just so many things. It's just a whole, I don't know, mindset shift. And so when people to me are overwhelmed, my question is, how desperate are you
Mhm.
for, you
To
know,
change.
the
Sometimes you need to
change
be yeah,
your health?
sometimes you need to be desperate. I done a lot of this a lot of that stuff because I was really curious and I grew up near a farm in Israel, so I was really close to nature. So I
Yeah,
had a love to animals. I had love to nature. I grew up, with a dad who would take me everywhere with him on hikes and,
yeah,
exploring from the, port to the desert.
yeah.
And I I find that a lot of our answer come in being in nature.
Mhm, mhm.
You know, and and you ask me, but how, what is the whole thing about bringing that into your life? It's like for me, something simple as I always talk about the same thing. I
Yeah,
go in with a thermos, I travel with a thermos, I have hot water in it. I sip throughout the day. Sometimes I go with like, one of my oils I take with me or essential oils and I take with me something to remind you to connect. That's the point.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
My oils are great, but they're more about really connection
yeah, yeah,
and, they help you calm the nervous system. They help you with um, things like castor oil, right? It's
Mhm.
unbelievable, to put castor oil pack on your belly, listen to good music, put it at
Yeah.
night. How many of us women have issues with being bloated?
Yeah, yeah, and so many people hear these things and they think, "Oh, I'm just gonna go, like, take this medicine or whatever," and they don't realize, you're talking about being raised and everything on the farm in early life, and they don't realize that this was the natural way of life before we had all of this stuff, and that's not to discount modern day medicines and that
Yeah.
they are beneficial when you do need them, but
Yeah.
running from certain things, when you have things in your house that are helpful, you have teas and things that you can drink that are helpful. Um, and so I just think, like, even for me, the raspberry leaf tea is so, so good for me, especially at menstruation time. Like, the turmeric tea keeps the inflammation down. Like, if
Mhm.
I need something for like my spasms and stuff when my cycles come, like the turmeric tea is gold for me. And it's like things that we don't know because we can't work with what we don't know.
Yes.
And then you're talking about the calming and the spirituality, and that's the part I was coming to next too, is we talked before OC, so exactly, where I am with that, and I believe
Yeah.
100% in God, and I don't have a problem saying God either. That's my belief system. That's where I stand. I'm not gonna push anything off on other people, but for me, I believe that we are in the body on this side of time, and that when
Mm.
we pass on, that we are in spirit, and that, we do have the opportunity to be with God at that point in time once we transition. And for me, I believe that in terms of calming, your spirit, taking care of your physical body, this shell of life that we're in right now, it is a matter of taking care of it with natural ways and focusing on your health and things like that. But it's also the spirit. You talked about the young lady who is in a very tough environment, in military and things of that nature. And to me, I think that's also applicable to just women in their everyday life. If you are going to work every day and you have that stress of the job, you're raising kids and you're trying to make sure they're okay, keep them alive, keep them fed, keep up with all their activities, and then also be a wife, but then also have time for yourself. And then you're dealing with perhaps, your parents, because if you still have your parents with you, you're worried about them, their well being, their health as they get older, and so as women, we carry all these other identities is basically what I'm saying. And you still have to be able to limit those stress levels and come back to self and the
Yeah, I
self-care
don't
that we
think you can help anybody unless you help yourself. And this is not being a narcissist or selfish or any of that, because
Yeah,
actually, to be selfish enough to take care of yourself is a healthy thing. And you
yeah,
need to learn first about yourself because it's contagious.
yeah,
The healthier I am and the more I'm able to open my heart for other people, the more people come in and they ask for help and they want to coach with me
yeah,
because I'm working on myself on a daily basis and now I'm available for other
yeah,
people because
yeah,
when you have this a happy trend, you want everybody to know about it. I have nothing to hide. I'll tell you anything. My
yeah,
life is public because I work on it. I constantly work on it. It was really challenging year for me, dealing with the hormone. It was so challenging. Probably 3 years it was challenging, but the last 6 months was so intense. And I was like, I'm gonna put all my energy into it, and I'm gonna get to the other side because I done it before with my digestive, and I'm gonna figure out. And that's life.
yeah,
Things will happen, but you are your own doctor, and every person who listen to this need to know you
mm,
are your own doctor.
yeah,
And
yeah,
God and your relationship with God is you don't need to die to develop it. It's here now.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we just need to remember that, and then things will show up. If we
yeah,
really want it and desire, you'll receive it. Some
yeah,
you suddenly you're gonna listen to this podcast and it's gonna wake you up to something.
Yeah.
We don't know how it's gonna be, right? We I read a book, and it really opened me up, The Foreign Agreement,
Mhm. Mhm.
25 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe more, whenever it came out, and I was in awe, right? Impeccable speech. I read it so many times, such an easy book to read, and it opened something in me. It was, again, another aha moment. Yes, this is right. This is where my spirit was yearning to go deeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
gotta
that's
follow your spirit. You gotta follow those yearning. And all your misfortune and all the difficult that we going through our life, I'm not saying it's great, but I'm saying it's here to crack your vessel, to make you grow so you can have more light, so you
mhm.
can open up more, so you develop more, so you get closer to God, not away from God. So and I
Yeah.
think that it's also changing the way how we perceive things. You can say I'm a victim of all my misfortune and my life is challenging.
Mhm.
Victim. I have a rule with my girlfriends: be a victim for 10 minutes and let's just talk about solution.
Yeah, yeah. And that openness and that the light that we receive from God to be light bearers, I believe that. I believe that when our relationship with God expands, that we are able to bear that same light, that same wholeness, and
Yeah.
we take that with us in rooms that we enter with others. And you're able to share that rule with your girlfriends because of that light that you are also reflecting. And the perspective shift, oh my gosh, like that one is so big. I think that when we are in an unhealthy state in our bodies and in our minds and spirit, that the perspective matches that same
Mhm.
unhealthy way of
Yeah.
being. But the moment that we take up agency in ourselves to say, okay, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to develop, I don't want to always feel like this. I don't want to always feel unwell. I don't want to always feel down and sad. And that's not to, I want to give the disclaimer that's not to like, make light of anyone struggling with things like depression or anything like that. But what I am saying is that the moment that we really, really press on and say, okay, let me really focus on my relationship with God. Let me really
Yeah.
focus on healing. My love and my healing, the heart space, the
Yeah.
mind, the body, the spirit,
Yeah.
and
You
being
gotta you
more.
gotta want to help yourself. It's
Yeah,
hard. It's a hard thing what I'm saying right now, but you gotta really want to help yourself.
yeah. Being in the
Yeah.
state of self-pity and being in the state of woe is me, life is just hard for me, that is gonna keep you locked and chained into your current reality.
Yeah.
And it
Some
doesn't.
people, I think, I had a friend who constantly talked about what happened to his family and what happened to this. And I'm not saying that it wasn't awful, but then at one point I was like, oh, this is part of how he gets people to feel bad for him and help him. And then it was an excuse about his background, and that's why he behaved the way he behaves. And that was his excuses about, because this and this died in my life. And I'm not saying that it's not horrible.
Right.
If till you want to change, until you want to change in
Mhm.
your life, it won't, nothing would happen. It's like you creating your life. The whole world, we say in Kabbalah, the whole world was created for you.
Yeah,
All your
yeah.
circumstances, all your opportunities, everything was created for you,
Mhm.
which is crazy, right? And the same time is that if that created for you, you can create a life, and everything that's around you, it's a reflection of what you're creating. So
Yeah.
create something where you can actually serve and help and be available, and
Right.
so your mirrors will reflect that back.
Mhm. And I think I shared this on one of my Instagram posts the other day that we can serve better from a place of wholeness and
Mhm.
genuineness and joy when we're not serving from a place of resentment and depletion.
Yeah.
And I think that, even the example you just gave, with the person who just it became easier and more comfortable to focus on all the things that were hard in their life, because that was the way to also kind of gain that sympathy and the support without having to actually do the hard thing. And doing the hard thing is facing the things that hurt, but not allowing the things that hurt keep you bound into a particular lifestyle you're unwilling to change, because we all are given the opportunity to grow and to develop. It's about whether or not we want to reach out and take that support for ourselves, or if we want to sit back and just rely on others to carry us through. And at some point, it's a disservice to ourselves not to be open to the blessings and the opportunities that come, and just remain stuck in a place that's easier and more comfortable than taking up that agency to say, okay, yes, this happened. Yes, this was bad. Yes, it really sucked. But you know what? Even though that was the case, I still have access to the light of God, that I could go out and I can try and I can learn and I can grow. And there's someone else that I get to bless with whatever I've been through, to
Beautiful. And
say
then
I overcame this.
totally. Yeah. And then I would say I would add one more thing. Is it like me and you, our challenges turned us into teachers.
Yeah.
Turned us
Yeah.
into where, so think about it. Maybe what what what's going on in your life is actually an opportunity for you to learn something that eventually you'll be able to help others.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a reason for everything.
Mhm. Mhm. I
And
think
maybe
that.
maybe that challenge is about, just like me, my digestive issue, made me a better teacher.
Yeah.
Not only I
Yeah.
know my body now, I can actually listen to someone else and like, "Oh, I can see what's going on here."
Right, right. I think we have to want healing instead of wanting the story that's comfortable. The
Mhm.
story that, "Oh, I've been through all of this. Life is so hard for me," whatever. I think we have to actually want healing than we more so want to remain comfortable in that space.
Yeah, and I've
Whatever.
done it too, so I know. I wouldn't say that if I didn't do it, to
Yeah.
myself as well. I just know that it doesn't really work.
Yeah. And I think we all can get comfortable in a certain space sometimes, because of fear, because of the unknown. But at some point, it becomes that desperation of, okay, I don't want to live like this.
Yeah.
This isn't healthy. And just making that one step towards change. So with all of this, I mean, I could talk to you forever. I
Thank
always
you.
Yeah, I always feel like that. But so, OC, what would be your final advice for women that are trying to come into this more holistic way of living and just transforming their lifestyle, that is hearing this conversation and feels like they're way too far ahead of where I could ever get in this? I don't know how to start with herbs or oils, or this is overwhelming me.
Mhm.
What is your advice?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's small. I would go back and say that, big things always happen with small steps.
Yeah.
And, I'm about to publish my book, but it took 5 years to do it, of 3, 4 times a week of meeting with my editors and rewriting, and, nothing good happened really quickly. So don't beat yourself up, and start, as far as the health, start with, warm cooked vegetables, and cooking your food in the beginning, and starting eating good oils, changing your cabinets with healthy cold pressed oil like avocado, sesame, and cold pressed olive oil, and add a ghee into your diet. Clarified butter. It's super healthy for you, your joints. Drink a lot of hot water. Make sure you're not, things like that. Make sure your body is alkaline. So maybe lemon and water in the morning, maybe chlorophyll.
Yeah.
Just slowly, little step. I mean, it's really it's very broad subject. So it's like I think that the way I start things is what is my desire,
Yeah.
and my desire, I was like learning about raw food. It was like, wow, I'm blown away by raw food back in
Yeah.
the 90s. I was like, I want to know everything about it. And I went that route, and then I realized raw food was too raw for me and it wasn't good for my digestion. So, so now I worked with things. I experiment on my body in a healthy way. Yeah. So
Yeah.
small
Yeah.
steps. And I would say that, you know, it takes time to learn about Ayurveda, but it's so worth it because it's not only give you the education and the knowledge is really transform you
Yeah. Yeah. I
inside
love
out.
that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, this has been a journey for me too, OC, and I'm still learning a lot day by day. And it was small steps for me, and it was me focusing on the house first, because it wasn't just the eating. It was like, okay, I changed my foods, but what does holistically that look like? And it was just small things in the house, small products and things in the house. And when I learned those things, I could start to practice like daily habits that made sense because I'd started with what's my face care routine going to be? What soaps am I using? And okay, what about the detergent? Okay, what about, and it started small and little by little until
Mhm.
you end up in a place that you never even thought you could be, you know?
Exactly.
So I
Mhm.
just share my little testimony because that's the ongoing journey for me.
It's
But
awesome. Thank you.
okay, yeah, I love this. I love this. Let's tell people where they can connect with you, learn more about your oils, um, and Ayurveda and everything else that you're doing, your book. Tell us all the gems.
Yeah. So first of all, whoever listened to the show, they can have a code with discount. So they can experiment the oils we talked about today, about the belly oil, which is the flow. I think we talked about the breast oil, the lymphatic drainage, which is, part of the Ayurveda practices, which is um, the feminine oil,
Mhm.
and the body oils is the shine and manifest. Those are great product to use. OCOil.com, OSIOils.com. So that's the way you can find me. And we'll before the New Year's, we're gonna have subscription where you can come with me on an Ayurveda journey. And this is a really great way to learn. You get a box every month with all the tools, with information, with videos. Once a month question and answers for all my subscribers. So I'm really excited about that.
Really
And
cool.
yeah, my book will be published 2026, early 2026. So I'm going to put it on my website as well, ocoil.com. And you can find me also on YouTube and podcast. And yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. I love it, especially the boxes and just the videos and everything people can get if they subscribe to that. Well, we'll drop all of the promo code and all the links and everything to the website so that everybody can just click it right at, listening to the show. And OC, it is such a
Thank
blessing.
you.
Thank you for joining the We Sweet community. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
And
you.
I would love for you to remain a part of our sisterhood. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. Thank you for all this wonderful work you're doing out there.
Yeah, same to
Thanks
you.
for having
Same to
me.
you. Absolutely.
Take care.
Thank you for following the We Sweet podcast. Don't forget to follow me on Insta at Dr. Dequies L. It's in the podcast bio. See you ladies soon.